My people, my people, my people. Welcome to another episode of This Could Get Ugly. Yes, 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 yes. I appreciate you. We're back at our normal day, Tuesday, 7:20. As you can see, I was on time. 7:20 Central, 8:20 Eastern. But anyway, I appreciate you for joining me tonight for another episode of This Could Get Ugly. For those who don't know, I am your host, Mr. Sean D. Upshaw. And, like I always say every week, I am appreciative of you showing up, supporting me, interacting with me on these topics that we've been talking about thus far. And we had some very, very interesting topics concerning dating with structure. Of course, I've introduced you to the structure in episode one, which is the three I's. I'm going to always stress that for this dating arc. For those who don't know, we're in a dating arc. We're in the middle of it. And where I get the word arc, you remember Noah's Ark, but yeah, we're building an arc right now for dating with structure. So those who are just joining us today, I have to repeat this. And those who've been here for week one, I'm repeating it because you should know this by now, but I still want to hammer it into you. The three I's when dating with structure: information, interaction, intimacy is the last thing. When you're dating in the first stage, you're getting all the information that you need. Then you go into interaction, which is seeing if that information lines up. Then when those two put you together, put you on the right path, then we climb into intimacy. So, yeah, that's the structure. And I hope that you've been applying it. If you went on a date last week, I hope you've been applying it. I hope we haven't just been on here just to be talking and you're not implying it. Doesn't make sense. Wouldn't make sense. So as you can see tonight, is a little different. I got the red background tonight. Yeah, usually with the purple, with royalty. But tonight, one of those episodes where I think we're gonna get gutter with it, right? We're gonna jump into some real deep stuff. So I had to hit you with the red for the danger zone. In fact, I took this so serious that I miss my weekly barber's appointment because I wanted to look grimy when delivering this when delivering this subject because it's important. It's important in the dating phase. So I felt like I had to play the part all the way around. And I hope you guys are here to really, really get this information because I believe that it's going to show up in your dating situations and take you to the desired level that you want to be in at the end of the day. So those who know from episode 1 and 2, this is the time where I usually get into story time. If you're just joining us, this is your first week. What I do is I jump into a story about how did I reach this particular topic, right? So anything that I give you, just know that I've been through. I've tested it, I've talked to friends, I've tested it. So anything that I give you, anything that I say on this camera, on this podcast, in front of you, is tested. All I just need you to do is apply it and test it for yourself, just to see that this really does work. So let me jump into story time. This week's story is going to be interesting. It's not taking place in Detroit. It's not in the summer. It's actually in the springtime, and it actually is in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, a place that I moved to right after my first official divorce. Yeah. Yeah, I went through a divorce, ladies and gentlemen. Um, at first I wasn't proud to say that I was divorcing or going through a divorce, but now being the person I am today, I'm happy for that divorce because it took me down a road that I didn't even know I had the ability to go down. It took me deeper into analyzing just me as a human being. And this brought me to this point of just giving you the information that I'm giving you right now, starting from the dating phase, because I believe that if the dating phase was explored a little bit more thoroughly in my first marriage, that who knows, it probably could have worked, or who knows, it probably was just meant to go that way for me to get here. But anyway, it took place 2011 in Tampa, Florida, where I had moved there, a year prior, but this is around the time where I felt like I was almost on the brink of beginning to like want to interact with people, females in particular, dates, whatever the case may be. So I met a particular young lady through a mutual friend, actually. And I'm assuming through that mutual friend, she had gained enough information from me to know that I was good for a friend. So she said, why not hook him up with a blind date? I didn't know. I don't even think she knew. Just so happened they set us up. We met, got some valuable information from each other on the first meeting, which led to us exchanging numbers, which led to us eventually getting to our first date. Now, here's the thing that makes it interesting. Her and I shared some really, really good information about each other to the point where the interaction phase kind of almost just hit us dead in the face. Here's why I say that. So we had got up to the point where we wanted to hang out with one another, but she knew my financial situation based on me telling her in the beginning, just being upfront, and me telling her about the divorce and where I was. And, she told me her situation or whatever. So she came up with the bright idea, let's go out to eat. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Again, I know my financial situation. I believe I was upfront with her. She said, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't care about none of that. I'm saying, yeah, whatever. She said, I'll be there at 4:30. Hung up. I said, yeah, whatever. Thought she was joking. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She wasn't joking. She rolled up at 4:30 on the nose, sat outside, called me and said, hey, I'm outside. I thought she was joking until I looked out the window and seen her sitting outside. So I'm not ashamed to admit I took the proverbial bird bath, uh, threw on some clothes, went out there, and we went out to eat. And during dinner or lunch, I believe it was dinner, we learned some more information about ourselves. I mean, we really put ourselves in the pressure cooker as we began to interact with each other more. Um, and I really like that aspect of it. I really like the way that flowed because it led to a point of the evening where the check came, right? Dun dun dun. So normally in a dating situation, I'm used to taking care of everything, especially on a first date, right? Because I just believe that's just the man responsibility. Just to, the financial burden is just on us, right? So it gets over there. I know what I'm working with. I don't know if she know what I'm working with or not, but she just break out like, let's go Dutch. I said, I said, what? She said, let's go Dutch. Okay. I've never experienced that where a female would suggest that on the first date. To this day, I mean, I can speculate on why she did it, but to this day, I still don't know the real reason behind why she did it. I would love to assume that the information that she gained from me that led into the interaction that we dealt with, because that's a high pressure situation. That interaction, she just was like, "Let's go, Dutch. Let me take some pressure off of you. I see who you are as a person. I see your character, right?" So I said, uh, okay. So we went Dutch. And in my mind, I never told her this, but in the back of my mind, I just knew things were going to change because no female has ever offered me that, right? And been serious about it and then want to date me after. So it surprised me when she stuck around. So I'm like, holy crap. Like this person is different. She's showing me that she's down for me in a tough time. And obviously, I've shown her through my actions leading up to that date that I would be down for her in a tough time. That was a pressure situation that revealed the information that was given between us to be true. So we was in that phase. And needless to say, that relationship lasted for a very, 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 very long time. We got married. Yes, we did. So that's why I said in the beginning, it's very imperative that you go through this dating with some type of structure because you never know what it leads up to, right? Crazy situation, but that's the story time of the day. And the reason I say that and I give you that particular story because I want people to understand that most people believe that dating is, just all about compatibility. It's not, right? Dating isn't designed to reveal compatibility alone. What is purpose for is to reveal character. Because that's exactly what happened in our situation. It revealed character. But y'all ain't ready for that conversation, but you better get ready because that's what we're gonna have. So, and due to the fact that it built character in that moment of interaction, right? Pressure begins to reveal who you are. Pressure begins to reveal who you are in the interaction phase. You see, a lot of us make the mistake of believing that you know a person when everything is going smooth. No, 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 no. That's not how that works. You begin to know a person in the moment when they hear the word no, in the moment where they begin to get corrected, right? In the moment where you're going through a moment of success, they're not how they respond to that. In the moment of when conflict arises, you get to see what a person is all about. That's the whole design of the interaction phase, right? So tonight I want to introduce something foundational to you. It's something I would like to call the 7 mirrors framework. The 7 mirrors framework. Excuse that Detroit accent, but yeah, that's what it's called, the 7 mirrors framework. I want to introduce you to it because it's something that appear during our dating relationships in the interaction phase that we must pay attention to because these mirrors not only show you who that person is, but it reveals who you are. But before we dive into that, let's backtrack a little bit and talk about episode 2 and how it flows into that. So in episode 2, right, we talked about information, which I told you we were. See, the first episode introduces the structure. These episodes are diving in individually. So last week we talked about information and not just the basic information of like what you believe in, what you bring to this proverbial table, or what you claim you want in a partner, right? No, we touched on a specific thing, and that specific thing is the red flags that announce themselves. Because it's one thing to ask the basic questions to get the basic information, but it's another thing to get information and see what certain people often do to gain an advantage in your dating relationships, right? So we talked about leverage, 5 leverage tools to be precise, and 2 structures where leverage shows up. In case you don't remember, I wrote it down to just give a recap. So last week we talked about people who leverage you morally and spiritually. These people just basically set up that wall to make it to gain leverage, to make it seem like it's a qualification to date them. The second one we talked about was sexual leverage. I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. It's just somebody who just wants to control sex, and they do key things in order to get in position to control the sex and leverage you into doing what they wanted to do. The next one we talked about was the authority leverage. These are the people who always say, well, a real man does this and a real woman does this. So I'm of the belief that a man can't tell a woman what she should be doing, and a woman can't tell a man nothing that he should be doing. That is just my stance. I'm not going to debate. I'm not going to argue about it. That's just where it is. Then we talked about the independence leverage, where these are the people who always communicate they're good. Independence is the stepping stool that they're going to stand on, and they're good. They don't need you. So we talked about how when people say they don't need you, let's just be honest. Some people lose their mind. You tell them you tell them you don't need them, and they go crazy. They do everything to try to show up and really prove to you that they are needed. So just a leverage point that people do, and I had to expose it. And the final tool, trauma leverage, which is crazy because I was just having this conversation with someone about trauma leverage. And trauma leverage is basically when some person leads with their trauma and expects you to just forgive them based on what has happened to them. Remember, I said, no, ma'am, no, sir. We're not doing that. So the 2 structures where leverage is really showing up just plain. Remember, we talked about the friendship zone. Stay away from that, and situationships. Neither one of those have to be explained because what I will say this. When somebody puts you in the friendship zone, we're talking about the people who are doing the opposite of saying, you really my friend, show up for me as your friend. No, not that. In the situationship, I mean, hell, I don't have to explain that. We all grown. We all know what a situationship is, and we all know what is led by, which is out of order of the three eyes. It starts with intimacy. Well, it starts with a little information that leads to intimacy, but ultimately is led with intimacy, and nothing will work out in that situation when enough information is not given or enough interaction is not shown. So that's basically what we talked about last week and how it leads into tonight's episode concerning the seven mirrors, dating, and how dating exposes you. So yeah, man, this is going to be good. I'm very excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I've been sitting on this right for for a few days, and it's just valuable information that I want you to pay attention to because the interaction phase, to be honest with you, is my favorite out of the three eyes because to see a person for who they are, right? To see if their information aligns with how they respond to certain situations says a lot about a person. I can't speak for you guys, but as I know for me, if I'm with somebody, if I'm dealing with somebody, I want to know if they're going to get in the trenches with me. I want to know if they're going to celebrate the good times as well as the bad time. Excuse me. You know, I got to get that red. By the way, I think the name of this is Hess. For those wine drinkers who have messaged me and asked me, it's called Hess. It's a red wine. It's a Cabernet. A client actually bought it for me today. So I'm giving it a try, and it's actually pretty good. But yeah, like I was saying, the interaction phase is when truth starts showing up. Interaction is just not about conversation. Interaction is actually an experience. It's an experience um, of shared situations, an experience of just getting to know that person, shared disciplines, shared moments of tension. Like I said, you want to know who the person you want to know who the person is that you're dealing with. So it's very, very important that you go through this interaction phase after the information phase and see if everything lines up. Because, like I told you last week, information and interaction is there to not really show anything about compatibility, right? It's the whole purpose of that setup is to get you to the ultimate goal, which is intimacy. I believe intimacy, once you master intimacy, that's when you begin to unlock different levels of your dating situation and go into, of course, I mean, we know what the next thing is: relationships, marriages, kids, all that good stuff. Intimacy, I believe, is what sustains a lot of relationships because once you master those first two levels and you begin to get into intimacy, as you can tell, well, as you can see, it's going to be an ongoing thing that needs to be worked on, right? This is why you have to nail information and interaction in the beginning, so your intimacy can be airtight. So let's talk about these mirrors for a second, right? I told you we're going to do something foundational, the seven mirrors framework, and I want to give you a little information about these mirrors because they're not random moments. No, they're not random moments, and they almost appear in every dating situation. If you don't believe me, when I run them down, ask yourself the one question: have I seen this before? And I guarantee you'll be like, "Yep." But most times we have mislabeled it, like we do with a lot of things. So that's the thing. I'm actually trying to put this in front of you to where you know what it is. Excuse me. So, like I said, they appear in almost every dating relationship. Most people simply don't recognize it. I just said that. But once you understand them, you begin to see things, and you begin to see things everywhere. These mirrors move through three stages. Three. One, two, three. These mirrors move through three stages. First pressure, then protection, then partnership. Number one thing, partnership. The first five mirrors that I'm going to reveal to you tonight, right, is character under pressure. That's what it's going to explain. Character under pressure. The sixth mirror is going to create what I like to call emotional safety. And the seventh mirror, of course, is going to determine whether you and that person can build together. Can build together. I mean, that is the ultimate goal, right? That's why we show up here every week to talk about what we're talking about in this dating arc to see if you can build together ultimately. Well, that seven mirror is going to give you that. So let's jump into mirror one, right? This is actually one of my favorites. Mirror one. What happens in the dating situation when mirror one shows up? What is mirror one? Well, it's rejection. Mirror one is rejection. In my opinion, rejection reveals ego. It reveals ego. One of the earliest moments that exposes character is when someone hears the word no. You don't believe me? Retract in your mind when you told somebody no and how they responded. Not a very good thing, right? It's no. It could be no to anything. It can be no to a request. It can be no to a plan. It can be no to an expectation. That's a big one. Because when you say no to an expectation, a lot of people don't know how to handle those type of situations, right? They almost confuse it with them being rejected versus them seeing it as a boundary, right? So that's the thing. People don't understand boundaries these days. That's why when they hear the word no, they freaking lose their mind. They don't know how to respond. So that's the first mirror that comes up. Rejection, ego. Did they respect your boundaries? Are they challenging your boundaries? That's another thing. Rejection exposes the difference between someone who respects autonomy and someone who expects control. Keep that in mind. That's what rejection does. Because we can't let's just pause right there because we can't fly through these mirrors. I really, really want you to understand that. When you told, excuse me, the word no, what is it doing to you? Ask yourself that question. What is it doing to you inside? Are you feeling away? Are you all up in your emotions? Or are you respecting that person's boundary? Because I'm telling you, that mirror rejection can be ugly in your dating situation, especially in the beginning, since it's everything is fresh. So you got to be very, very careful. Because, like I said, these mirrors not only expose who a person is when you tell them no, but it exposes you as well. It's a double sided mirror. That's one thing you have to realize. So let's move into mirror two, which is one of my favorite all time words. Matter of fact, it is a code that I live by as a man. Accountability. Mirror two is accountability. Accountability reveals humility. Accountability reveals humility. Everyone makes mistakes. Can't show me a person alive that doesn't make a mistake. But maturity appears when someone is corrected. How is that person responding when you correct them on a mistake? Hilarious, right? How that person responds will tell you a lot about that person during the interaction phase. It's the cooker phase, right? Somebody does something wrong, you go to them with it, you explain it. How are they responding to you? Are they trying to deflect? Are they really trying to get to the bottom of it? What are they doing in this interaction? And most importantly, did it line up with what they told you in the information phase? Did that person sit up there and lie to you and say, hey, when I make a mistake, I'm a person that owns up to it? Did they tell you that? And then when the heat got turned on, they totally flipped the script on you? Or is that what you do? Remember, I said it's a double-sided mirror. Or is that what you do? When accountability runs towards you, do you put your coat on, get your bag, and hightail it up out of there? What do you do when accountability knocks on your door? Do you hide from it like it's rent a center or Aaron's knocking on your door trying to trying to get that furniture back because you ain't paid in a couple weeks? What do you do? Ask yourself that because that's very important. That's a mirror that sets the stage for your relationship because accountability flows in and out of relationships because we're all going to make mistakes. There's really no handbook for this relationship thing. There's really no handbook, excuse me, for this dating thing, this marriage thing. There are no handbooks. There are people like me who can give you experiences, who can plant the seed, and you're the one that have to water it ultimately. You're the one that have to test it to see if it works for you. Not to my own horn, but I think it'll work for you, especially as dating structure. Trust me. Listen, if you go through my dating structure, I'm gonna say this now. If you go through my dating structure and you wind up meeting your person and y'all get married, I better get a damn invite to the wedding. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, when you when you point out a person mistakes, do they reject it or do they adjust? Hell, do you adjust? Analyze that. On tonight, analyze that. Are you accountable enough to be in a dating situation? Are you accountable in your interaction phases? That's huge. Accountability is not a one-way street, ladies and gentlemen. It goes both ways. There's going to be times where I have to be accountable. There's going to be times where she has to be accountable. But the common denominator is accountability is going to have to happen, regardless of what direction it comes from. So these are questions you need to ask yourself. Am I rejecting it? Am I adjusting? Am I defending my ego immediately? See, that's a huge thing. When you bring up something that a person does and they just automatically go into defense mode and defend their ego rather than see what you're trying to tell them. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, what if they manipulate me? Or what if they're trying to play me? Listen. I gave you some of the leverage tools last week. Pay attention. I'm going to tell you how important this paying attention is. The very moment that I got off the last week episode, right? The following day, I watched Pop the Balloon, which is something I always do. And as these people were talking, I start to begin to see some of the leveraging tools that I told you about. Clear. Very clear. You're going to start doing that too once you apply this. You're going to do this too once you start applying. Trust me. If you don't, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Maybe you missed something I said. Seriously. But let's not harp on accountability, even though it's my favorite one. Maybe I should have I couldn't have made it last because I told you what the seventh mirror is. Maybe I should have made it fifth instead of two. But anyway, let's talk about mirror 3. Very, very important to pay attention to in the interaction phase. I cannot stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the elevated tone in my voice. This is how important it is. Mirror 3, elevation. Elevation reveals security within the person you're dealing with. Elevation reveals insecurity in the person of who you are. This comes up a lot in dating. One of the questions I always ask women and men, how did this person respond to your success? When something good happens to you, how does that person respond to your success? A lot of people miss the negativity that comes into play because they're caught up in the attraction, the chemistry, the vibe. Oh, I didn't feel a spark. Man, listen. F that spark. That spark ain't going to teach you nothing. This is what's going to teach you. This is what's going to show you how a person celebrates you, or are they capable of celebrating you? Elevation. It reveals a lot about a person. It reveals a lot about you when your partner goes through it. No other way to put it. Secure people celebrate your wins. Secure people celebrate your wins. Not only celebrate your wins, but secure people don't kick you while you're down when you're going through your downs. They help you up. This is what a secure person looks like in an interaction phase. If a person told you in the information phase that, oh, I'm very secure in my manhood or my womanhood, I know who I am, and then something positive happens to you and they're not able to celebrate you how they should be celebrating you, if they're not your number one fan, run. Run. Get the hell up out of there. Get the hell up out of there. Because you setting yourself up for a world of trouble, especially if you're a person like myself that have goals and aspirations and dreams, and you want to reach these landmarks one moment at a time. You want to get there. You want to climb the mountain, and then you got a person down there like old boy in Minister Society chewing on a banana, talking about, I don't like that shit. Stay away from these people. It's a mirror, ladies and gentlemen. It's mirror 3. Insecure people quietly will ruin you. Insecure people are spies. Government spies sent in to destroy you. No, seriously though. Seriously though. Pay attention to or how your person celebrates you. Celebrating you is a very, very important thing to have in relationships. I need to know that you are genuinely happy for me, just like I'll be genuinely happy for you. I'm telling you, you better pay attention. You better pay attention. So let's do a quick recap. Remember, I said mirror 1 was rejection. How does a person act when you tell them no? Mirror 2 is accountability. How does a person treat you when you make a mistake? Mirror 3, elevation. Is that person capable of celebrating you? Mirror 4, conflict. Mirror 4, conflict. Conflict, funny enough, reveals emotional regulation. It lets you know, am I dealing with a hothead here? Is this a Ike Turner? Or is this a female that believe me, they exist. I've had females threaten to stab me with an ice pick before. It's funny, but it's not funny. Don't be laughing at me, y'all. I'm dead ass serious. First of all, who the hell threatened somebody with an ice pick? I was scared on that alone. Like, where the hell you get an ice pick from? I ain't never seen one of those. Let's be real though. But abuse, two-way street. But conflict anyway within a dating situation reveals emotional regulation. Arguments do not create character, ladies and gentlemen. They do not. All arguments do is prove or try to prove who's right, who's wrong. But you're missing the one road because both of y'all are running on the side of it. At the end of that road is the conclusion. When we arguing, no one reaches a conclusion because we too busy trying to be right. That's why you got to make sure when you have conflict with your person that during that interaction, it aligns with everything they told you in the information phase of how they deal with conflict, how they manage conflict. What are some of the things that they do to handle conflict resolution? What's their plan? How do they do it? Because it's something serious. It's something serious. Because you need to be asking yourself these questions. When I'm having conflict with my person, are they calm? Are they willing to listen? Are they hearing what I'm saying to them, or are they defending themselves? These are some serious questions you need to ask. Are they escalating tension? Are they because here's the thing, when you're in conflict, tell me if I'm right or wrong. When you're in conflict with your person, these people, the people that's doing it the wrong way, they know how to push your buttons. They know how to say the right, it's for lack of a better term, they know how to say the right things to get you to the wrong level. right? Don't act like I'm the only one in here that didn't flipped out because somebody didn't push my buttons. Come on now. Let's be real about this. Let's be real about this. I can't be the only one. You have to be very careful not to escalate tension. And if you see your partner or your dating partner trying to escalate tension, you need to address it. Just like you need to address yourself if you feel yourself beginning to escalate the tension. Ask yourself before you say it. When I say this, come back after he's to what he just said to me. Is it going to escalate tension or is it going to bring us back here in harmony? Ask yourself these questions. I know it's hard because I know when emotions are high, intelligence is low, but trust me, people, you want to do this because this is a mirror that could end something very special that you had. You know how much conflict has ruined situations that could have just been talked out and moved forward. But hey, here's that word again. Conflict also reveals emotional discipline. Emotional discipline. Remember, we talked about that last week. Get some discipline about yourself emotionally. It's very important. We're too old. We too old to be out here dealing in emotions when it comes to situations where we have to work on each other and work on ourselves as well. We too old for that. But that's enough with the conflict. Let's go to the fifth and final mirror, right? Alignment. I'm not going to front to you. Alignment was a word that I used to hate to hear. I used to hate hearing it because so many people have it's a buzzword that so many people have taken and used in order to, I want to say, just elevate their person rather. Elevate their person. Alignment. This is something, a buzzword that people use to elevate their profile. Let people know, oh, well, if you're not aligned with me, get the hell out of here. Most of these people don't even know what alignment truly is. They just, like I said, just use the buzzword in order to make themselves look a certain way. But alignment reveals worldviews, right? Worldviews, perspective. And to be honest with you, as interaction continues during the time where you find out if you're aligned or not, patterns begin to appear if you're really paying attention. Right? I can't be the only one to see this. Patterns begin to appear. Are your eyes open to see them? Are you moving in the same direction? Key word. Are you moving in the same direction? That's what alignment is basically is. Don't let nobody try to dress this up, put a shirt and tie on it, and send it out to the world for business. The general sense of what alignment is are you moving in the same direction? Let's keep this simple. People want to add trigonometry to something that's just simple addition. Are we moving in the same direction? Something that you must know in the interaction phase. Because if you're not moving in the same direction, eventually that direction going to split. And I hope it doesn't split after you didn't wasted time getting into something that you shouldn't be into. Believe me, you. So are you going in the same direction? Or are y'all building two different paths? Many dating relationships fail because, let's be honest, people dislike each other. I'm not ashamed to say I've told my ex-wife this. I love you, but I do not like you. Real talk. I love you, but I do not like you. And the reason I didn't like her is because I felt like we wasn't aligned in certain situations. It wasn't that I didn't like her as a person. We just wasn't aligned at that particular moment. And I'm be honest enough to say that I more than likely drag that out because I can be petty at times, right? And I know my people probably looking like, at times, forget y'all. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said, many relationships fall not because people not dislike each other. But I gave you that example. Many relationships fail because many people don't dislike each other, but because they are trying to build two different futures. Something to really, really consider, which is why alignment is very, very important. Y'all have to be walking like this, not like this. Y'all can't be building two different futures. Now you can be working on two different things, but the end result has to be one future. As my mentor say, are you tracking? It's very, very possible to say or to be working on two different things as long as the end result is one solid future, right? Keep that in mind. So before we move on to mirror 6, let's get a recap, right? Because it's very, very important that you get a recap. Mirror 1 of the 7 mirrors framework during the interaction phase. Mirror 1 is rejection, right? How does a person act when they hear the word no? How does that person act? How does that person respond? Are they viewing it as a boundary, or are they viewing it as you disrespecting them because they're trying to gain control? Think about that. Mirror 2 is accountability. How a person treats you after a mistake, or how you treat that person after a mistake, right? Are they rubbing it in? What they doing? Hell, are you showing accountability? Is that person showing accountability? Is it sincere? It's a mirror to pay attention to. Mirror 3, elevation. Can that person celebrate you? Can that person celebrate you? Your successes, your triumphs. They capable of leaving their ego at the door to just put you on a pedestal for that one particular moment. Are they? Mirror 4, conflict. How you guys interact with each other when y'all beefing, right? I told you. You got to be very careful because that's one of those things. Conflict, got to be calm. Got to be level-headed because it can go left very quickly. And you can say some things. Here's the thing with conflict. In conflict, you can say some things you don't mean just to win the battle. You're not thinking about the long term of it. You just want to win that battle. Be careful with that conflict situation. And of course, mirror 5 is alignment. Are we sharing the same path? Are we building the same future? As I told you before, if when you build in the same future, you have to be lock and step with each other. You can't be building two different futures. One can't go left, one can't go right. Only way one can go left and one can go right, they can be working on something individually, separately, but it has to all be aligned with the same future, right? So let's talk about mirror 6. Mirror 6, the word that a lot of people are scared of, right? Starts with a V. Let me take a sip of wine while I give you a chance to figure that out. Mirror 6 is vulnerability. Woo! That's an ugly word for a lot of people. Ugly word for a lot of people. But it's one of the things that makes interaction very necessary. Vulnerability. Mirror 6. Vulnerability reveals emotional safety. Can I be safe with this person? Vulnerability is not where relationships begin, right? It is the reward, excuse me, for maturity under pressure. Let me rephrase that. Let me run it back. Vulnerability is not where relationships begin. It is the reward for maturity under pressure. Because a place where emotional safety exists, honesty becomes possible. Did you hear what I just said? In a place where vulnerability, exists, emotional safety exists, and honesty becomes possible. Vulnerability, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful thing in the right person's hands. Vulnerability, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful thing in the right person's hands. How does it get in the right person's hands? By making sure the information lines up, by making sure you're paying attention in the interaction phase that the information lines up, by checking the first 5 mirrors that I told you about, seeing if they line up. That's what provides that emotional safety. That's what opened that floodgate to be able to communicate freely. Woo! That's the beautiful word. Communicate freely. How many people can say that they've been in a position where they can communicate freely? I tell you what, all the people I know that communicate freely, excuse me, are married successfully. Vulnerability is a natural state for them. It can be for you too, if you get out your own way. Let's go to this seventh and final mirror. Listen carefully. The seventh mirror is vision. Vision. Vision requires, I'm sorry, vision reveals, because I want to tell you what it reveals before what it requires. Vision reveals partnership capacity. Oh, what the hell was that, Sean? Capacity. Vision reveals partnership capacity. Excuse me. I was speeding up. I'm so excited to give you this that I'm adding syllables. Capacity. That's what it's supposed to do. This is all simple, ladies and gentlemen. Vision reveals partnership capacity. Can I build with this person? Are they capable? Do they have the capacity to build with someone? That's what Mirror 7 reveals. Vision. Your ability to see. Now, I will be honest with you. In my old age, I've become semi-blind as a bat. But guess what? Any relationship I be in, that vision gonna be clear 2020. Believe me, you. My vision physically might not be where it's supposed to be, but my vision for my relationship is going to be 2020. What will it be for yours? Question you have to ask yourself. Because the thing with vision, right? Once emotional safety exists, the relationship stops surviving and starts building. Did you hear what I just said? If mirror 6 is in line and emotional safety exists, with mirror 7 in your vision, this is where the relationships stop surviving and start building. Whether you want to believe this or not, it's a lot of us. It's a lot of us. Present company included. It's a lot of us that was operating out of survival in our relationships. We weren't building. We thought we were building until somebody hit that trigger and we realized we were surviving, which is why we were making certain decisions, certain bold decisions in that relationship, that dating relationship that killed it. Be honest with yourself. How many of you guys are operating from survival? Because you need to get out of it. You already survived whatever situation you've set yourself up to operate out of survival in. You survived it because you're not with that person no more. So that's why you got to put a plan in place. That's why you have to peep these mirrors. That's why you have to get in alignment. You have to be vulnerable. You have to get that emotional safety, because everything that I've told you up to this point, it all falls to mirror 7, vision. Can you see yourself with that person? Are you guys building together? Listen, when you start building, right? I can attest to this. When you start building, ideas about your dating relationship, ideas about your future relationship, hell, ideas about your marriage, if you decide to go down that road, begin to flow freely. Goals appear clearly, plans begin forming clearly. Everything becomes clear. I'm not pulling your leg on this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm dead ass serious. Building something meaningful requires strength from both sides. Strength from both sides. Not operating out of weakness. Building something meaningful, requires strength from both sides. I know it's going to come a time where I have to be stronger than my person, and my person might have to be stronger for me in certain situations. But the point is, the strength exists, is there. You see it. The vision is clear, right? You can't ask someone to dig a hole with you if both shovels aren't equally as strong. Did you hear what I just said? If the vision is not clear, if all the mirrors that lead up to this final one are not clear, you can't ask someone to dig a hole with you if both shovels aren't equally as strong. What you think gonna happen? Let me jump over to these comments real quick because I think you guys get a gist of where I'm trying to go here, right? I see I see this boy in here tripping already. Look, I go over to the comments. First person I see, one of my best friends, Ace, talking about his vision is like Ray Charles. Scratch a life out of Boy, what are you talking about here? It's crazy, right? Let's see. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. Kendra Upshaw, 100. 100. Let me share a little story about me and Kendra, right? I was very, very hesitant about this, but I have to be real with my audience. This is what I'm just building my platform on, just being real. Um, the story that I told you about earlier about the young lady that said, "Well, we can go Dutch on our first date," and I wound up marrying her. It was Kendra. Yeah, my second marriage. Yeah, surprise. I've been married twice. Yeah, we're no longer together. But guess what? We're still the best of friends because of the bridge, the strong bridge that we've built has kept us close. We are still cool. We've had the ugly conversations. We went through the three eyes in our dating. We went through some other things that I'm going to express to you in future episodes. Just wait and see. You will see. But me and her have seen the seven mirrors. If exposed her, if exposed me, hell, it's been a mirror in front of her, a mirror in front of me, and we both looking like, what's going on your side? Because I got this going on. You know what I'm saying? But it's real. It's real. Believe me, everything that I'm giving you from these three eyes in our dating structure is very, very important because I don't want you to experience what I've experienced. And for those who believe that a divorced person can't give great advice on dating or relationships, then I hate to say it, but you're stupid. For real. I hate to put it like that because this is the elevated tone of Sean. But if you believe that me as an individual that has been married twice, divorced twice, can't have enough experience to tell you what to do in your dating and relationships, then there's one thing that is happening.
You can't handle the truth.
Good old Jack said it, and I'm just agreeing. You simply can't handle the truth. because everything I'm giving you at this point is mistakes that I've made. So you don't have to make it. What's the old saying go? Uh, I ran so you didn't have to. What is it? I run so you can walk. Yeah, I ran. I ran a goddamn marathon for y'all for y'all to walk around the track concerning these subjects that we're talking about, especially in this dating structure arc that we're currently in. So let's recap. Let's recap before we close, right? Episode 1 introduced modern dating and introduced the structure, as I've been telling you from day one, which is the 3 I's, which is getting information, watching what happens in interaction based on that information, and then ultimately graduating to intimacy, which is what you want to build in order to flourish in that current situation, right? So episode 2, I went a little deeper into the information phase, but more along the lines of just a specific red flag that you have to pay attention to when somebody's giving you information, because there's a lot of people out here that will leverage you. I don't want that happen to you. So tonight, as a reminder, we talked about the 7 mirrors that pop up during the interaction phase, right? Because it's one thing for you to tell me something, it's another thing for me to see it. So you see where I'm going with this. I want to. I think you know where I'm going next week with next week's topic, right? So one thing I want you to know is the 7 mirrors framework. Is in reality, it's nothing new. It's something I came up with based on my situation, and I put them in order. But it's nothing new. If you really take a glance at how your relationship been, you can peep how you played a part in each one of those mirrors, how you responded. Believe me, you take the time to do it. They it's always been there. Like I said, pressure reveals who you are. You don't know a person if everything is going smooth. You know a person when they under pressure. That's when you get to know a person. That's why the interaction phase is very, very important. Pressure reveals who you are. Vulnerability reveals who you are safe with. Pressure reveals who you are. Vulnerability reveals who you are safe with. Vision reveals who you can build with. 5, 6, and 7. I want y'all guys to really, really focus on that, those mirrors this week in particular. 5, 6, and 7, right? Before you ask whether someone else passes these mirrors, always remember this. Examine your own reflection. That's very, very important. Don't just don't hold the mirror up for that person to see. Flip it over or buy a double-sided where you can see your faults as well, right? Dating relationships don't just expose the other person. They expose you. And if you decide that you want to take it to a next level of relationships and marriage without having this in order, it won't fix your character. It'll just magnify who you are. Don't let it be found out that you are not who you say you are. That's where I'm going to leave you. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel for clarity. I appreciate your support. I'll see you next week. Love you.